Hi, my name is Holly Adams. Didn't you always think that human trafficking pertained to other countries and not the United States? That seems like something that happens in Europe or Mexico or something like that. But every day in our country, people are being bought, sold, and smuggled like modern day slaves. According to Sicily.org, there are 244,000 American children and youth estimated to be at risk of child sexual exploitation through human trafficking. It is hard for us to imagine that in our country, the United States, people and children are being bought and sold to be modern day slaves. According to oag.ca.gov, human trafficking is a modern form of slavery. It involves controlling a person through force, fraud, or coercion to exploit the victim for forced labor, sexual exploitation, or both. Human trafficking strips victims of their freedom and violates our nation's promise that every person in the United States is guaranteed basic human rights. The victims of human trafficking can be anybody. Victims of human trafficking represent a range of backgrounds in terms of age, nationality, socioeconomical status, and education. One main characteristic they usually share is some form of vulnerability. They are often isolated from their families and social networks, and in some cases, victims are separated from their country of origin, native language, and culture. Victims who are undocumented immigrants often do not report abuse to the authorities out of distrust of law enforcement, fear of arrest, injury to family members, deportation, or other serious repercussions. Many domestic victims of sex trafficking are underage runaways and/or come from backgrounds of sexual and physical abuse, incest, poverty, and addiction. There are three main types of human trafficking. There's sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and domestic servitude. Most of us have heard about sex trafficking. It's one of the bigger issues involving human trafficking. Sex trafficking is the act of forcing, coercing, or transporting a person for the purpose of a commercial sex act. These crimes are primarily committed against women and children. Sex trafficking can occur in residential brothels disguised as massage parlors, strip clubs, and via online escort services and street prostitution. I didn't even know brothels still existed. Labor trafficking is the act of forcing a person to work for little or no money. It can include forced labor in underground markets and sweatshops, as well as legitimate businesses such as hotels, factories, restaurants, construction sites, farming, landscaping, and nail salons. That's so crazy to think about. Domestic servitude is a form of labor trafficking. It's most like being a slave. Domestic servitude often involves women who are forced to live and work in the homes of employers who confiscate their legal documents, like their passports, so they can't go back home. Domestic workers can be U.S. citizens or lawfully admitted foreign nationals or even undocumented immigrants. We need to make the issue about human trafficking known. There are many ways to do this. We just have to spread the word. Students, if you can join or establish a university club to raise awareness about human trafficking and initiate action throughout your local community, that would be great. The main problem is people don't know that the United States is affected by human trafficking. Consider doing one of your research papers on the topic. At least that would make your professor more aware that this is an issue and it needs to be discussed. Professors, request that human trafficking be an issue included in the university curriculum. If it's talked about, more people will become aware and maybe somebody will help do something about it. Increase scholarship about human trafficking by publishing an article or teaching a class. There are so many ways, but the main way is just letting the information be known. There are many types of human trafficking, and there are many people affected by it in our country. It's very sad to think about, especially that most of the people that are affected are children. Penalties for trafficking crimes carry a maximum of 20 years imprisonment and substantial fines. The law extends prosecution to any person receiving financial gain from an act involving children exploited as prostitutes and prohibits sex tourism. So at least there's a little law in place. But we just got to be more aware of who initiates the sex trafficking and the human trafficking. Hopefully one day we will not have this problem in our country. I pray for that. So if you could just help make this issue known, that would be amazing. Have a good day. Bye.